Hey, what's going on today, folks? Johnny P here again. Today I just wanted to go over. I had a couple ideas from other viewers in their comments, and they were asking about my fasting protocol and what I did to start it and all of that stuff. So, as most of you guys already know, I lost 165 pounds in 9 months using fasting or intermittent fasting and a carnivore diet. So that's kind of what I started with. But how I kind of rolled into it was doing intermittent fasting at first. It was 16 and 8. I started at lunch. I would have, like beef jerky, and just kind of rolled into having a larger meal at dinner. So just kind of skipping breakfast altogether. It really wasn't that difficult at the beginning, just because my mornings tended to be a little bit busier anyway. So rolling into it and creating a habit out of it, that's kind of what I did. And I know some people, have said 7 days to make a habit. Doing something consecutively for 7 days kind of forces you to create that habit. And that was my mindset behind it. So I started out doing intermittent fasting. I would go to lunch, and in the very beginning it wasn't beef jerky. I started doing that when I rolled it into carnivore, but whenever I was doing intermittent fasting, it was like a lunch, whatever that looked like to me. At the time it was probably fast food. I can't really remember, but I'm pretty sure it was fast food. Fast food for lunch, and then I would roll into dinner, probably make something, nothing particularly healthy, probably not nothing crazy unhealthy either, but either way it was just one of those things that, like, I would have lunch and then dinner. So I would shut that window. Instead of starting out with something in the morning, anything small or anything like that, I didn't do. I would just have black coffee, and I still do this today, like black coffee, until lunch. Which now I don't do lunch. I'll get into that. But yeah, so I wouldn't do breakfast. I would just drink coffee or coffee and water, specifically like bubbly or one of these guys. I would do that just to kind of give myself, like, some kind of, psych out, saying, I'm not starving. But it started working. So I started doing that, and then I would just gradually close my window. So I would close it. I started an hour at a time after I got used to it. So maybe about 2 weeks I started closing that window. So I would jump up to, instead of eating at 12, I'd eat at 1. Instead of eating at 1, I'd eat at 3, and just gradually close that window. For the diet, like the change in food when I went to carnivore, it was all or nothing. So I had to cut it out completely. But with this, on the opposite side, I was actually doing, closing it gradually just to get my body used to it. That seemed to work out for me. So yeah, that's kind of what I did. So I closed it, and then when I switched to, as I was going through this, I was switching or transitioning into carnivore diet, which I would, have beef jerky, as my lunch, regardless of what time that was. It was, my second meal, we'll call it, first meal. It was beef jerky, and then, my last meal, second meal, was, something healthy like chicken, beef, steak, all of that kind of, stuff without any carbs whatsoever. So gradually closing that down, that took me probably, I would say, maybe 2.5 or 3 weeks to kind of get acclimated to it. And then now, doing this for over a year, I eat one OMAD. I eat one time a day, and that's dinner, and that's it. I mean, throughout the day I don't feel hungry whatsoever. I'm not sure if I'm being carried over from my large meal. Usually I have it at dinner, just because it just makes more sense to me, so I can feel satiated going to bed. Some people may, your mileage may vary on that, but that's what has worked for me. And how I've been successful in this journey is, it just find something that works for you, whether that meal is in the morning, afternoon, or dinner time, or nighttime. Just pick something that that works for you, that you can stick to. If you're a big breakfast person, do your meal in the morning. It's finding something that definitely works for you and something that you can stick to. So that was kind of one of my things, is like I had to find something that was going to work for me. I knew that in my mornings being busy, that I wouldn't need, I wouldn't really think about food, because I don't really need, I felt like, looking back retrospectively, looking back and kind of being like, was I even really hungry when I woke up, or was it so ingrained in my brain that I needed something to get my day going? And I think that's more so of what it was, as opposed to me being, ravenous in the morning, wanting to, eat whatever. So I think, getting in the right frame of mind kind of helped me to get where, to get where I am now, is making sure that, like, I knew that I wasn't hungry. I told myself I wasn't hungry. I filled my, stomach up with water and coffee, and that kind of, got me through, the morning, and got me into that first meal, when I first started. So I think, kind of looking back on it, it definitely helped. It made it easier, rather, I guess, whenever I switched my diet over to carnivore, because I felt more satiated. I felt, I guess I felt full longer, because then I started going into, after about, I think it was about 6 months into my journey, it was one of those things where I was no longer hungry, but I was also throwing in workouts. So in the morning, I was running, I was working out 7 days a week. And even with that, and not eating after or anything like that, I was still feeling very, very, like, content. Like, it just, food was not on my mind after that. And I think really transitioning, coupling carnivore and intermittent fasting really helped me stay satiated, helped me stay full, and gave me the energy that I needed to, conduct myself in that way, being able to work out and all of that stuff. So I hope this helped. Again, just, you have to find something that works for you. And if that does work for you, then awesome. But, if not, keep switching it. Carnivore is not the end all be all. It works for me. It works, perfect for me. But if you don't like meat, obviously carnivore is not going to work for you. And if you don't like fasting, it's not going to work for you. So you have to figure out something that's going to work for you. But you also have to keep in mind that, you're not going to love every single diet that you're on. It's just not going to happen. I love meat. I was an avid meat eater before I just transitioned straight to meat. So it did kind of work, but it wasn't something that I would, set out to do. It's just something that I knew I could stick to. So you have to find a diet, you have to find, a protocol, whether that's fasting or whatever that looks like to you. Just make sure it's something that you work, that works for you. And that's kind of my mindset through this entire thing. So I hope this helped, guys. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them down in the comments below. Have a great rest of your day.